Has your spiritual life left you feeling indifferent, left you feeling lazy, left you feeling you have no interest in this world? Well, then I would say your spiritual path is only half a spiritual path. You see, I had this letter from a friend who said, I'm losing interest in materialistic things. So am I in a phase of intense non-attachment and self-denial, or am I simply lazy? And it's a very real question, and I think it's a very real stage on the spiritual path that we go through. I remember a time when I felt something similar many, many years ago. I was kind of down on life, and it was complicated and not very rewarding, and I just wanted out. Well, my spiritual teacher, Swami Kriyananda, made the comment, I'm sure one made by many wise people, that a person who commits suicide doesn't necessarily go to heaven, so to speak, on the basis of their rejection of life. Two things are necessary: not only turning your back on seeking happiness through the outer fulfillments, the material fulfillments that life appears to offer, but it also requires a deep longing for freedom, a deep longing for love for God, the feeling of great love for the sake of love itself, for the sake of joy. It's not enough to be down on life. You must also seek to feel union, fulfillment, satisfaction on a very deep level. We call that satisfaction God, but you can call it whatever you like. It can be your guru. I won't go into all the infinite forms and names and aspects of deep and permanent fulfillment. That is what our soul longs for. In short, it comes down to this, because the person who wrote me the note hit the nail on the head when he used the term laziness, because our indifference, our lack of interest in the world, can also be a form of depression, even clinical depression. In any case, it can be a form. What it certainly is a lack of energy. You know, we withdraw from the world in the name of being spiritual, which is very good and necessary. But if that energy just lies in the lower chakras, in the lower part of ourself, then we become lazy. We become indifferent. We need to raise our energy in aspiration, in self-giving, in devotion, in yearning for total fulfillment, complete happiness and bliss, which is the very nature of not just God, but the very nature of our soul made in the image of God. So, and I see this often on the path of meditation, it's not enough to want inner peace, quite apart from indifference or lack of interest in the world, which was the subject of this question. Even seeking peace, it's not enough, because that's what happens. We become very peaceful, but we can't hold that state either without dropping our energy or just being re-engaged in the world as a source of happiness for us. We need the energy of the higher chakras above the lowest chakra of peace in order to raise the kundalini, raise the desire for true joy, the desire to love all in the name of God. And for that, we have many tools: service to God through the service of others, to the fulfillment of that which is dharmic in our life, our job, our family, our health, our relationships. We need to do the best we can to fulfill those necessities of our life that have been given to us by virtue of our karma or given to us by God, however you want to see that. So energy is the key. That's why the energization exercises of Yogananda, the practice of yoga, the practice of exercise and health and right diet and positive attitudes, but ultimately devotion to the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord of bliss. This is the solution, raising our energy to the point between the eyebrows, the doorway by which we transcend the limitations of the ego, limitations of the demands of the body. Energy is the link between the ego and the body and the mind and the soul. So energy is the solution. Say yes to life. Say yes to the Supreme Lord.